Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about the decision of why my husband decided to get the sleeve back in October of last year. So if you didn't know, my name's Dory. Welcome to my channel. My husband and I both have had the bariatric sleeve surgery. He had his back in October. The reason he had his was because of the fact that he is a diabetic, and he was taking Ozempic and Trulicity, either or. And he had taken that for like 2 years and it didn't get any of his weight off. It helped get his A1C under control, but it did not help him get his weight under control. He had high blood pressure, and couldn't really walk very far without needing to sit down and take a break. He couldn't even mow the lawn because his back hurt, so it would take him 3 hours to do our lawn, and our lawn is very, very small. Just things like that. And so it really became, he had wanted to for years to get this done. However, his work insurance did not approve or do anything with weight loss surgery until last year. Last year was the very first time that they allowed it. His insurance restarted or changed or something. It changed like in the middle of summer or something. So he was able to get his done in October. His was a 2-month, really like a 2-month program, where he had his pre-op and he had his appointments and things like that, to have the surgery. He was really nervous because he didn't know what to expect. He knew a couple people who had had it done, but it has really worked out well for him. He has lost almost 80 pounds since October. He is off of, he also has sleep apnea, before I forget, but he is off of his diabetes meds. His diabetes has been fantastic. He is off of some of his high blood pressure meds. I think he's like only on 1, and he was like on 2 or 3. And so, and he can walk, he can walk long distance. He can, without a break, he helped our son, our son got, property, and so needed that to help to be cleared so he could put his mobile home on it. And, my husband was able to help him several times with that without any kind of assistance, without any kind of hurting. And that was, amazing for him. So the surgery has really, really done well for him. Then there was me. So watching him, he had very minimal problems. I think his problems was when he first got home, when he was able to start to eat, he didn't realize when he was full. And so he'd end up having problems, throwing up or whatever. And as time went on, he was able to recognize the signs. So for him, that was great. Me, however, I had watched him and thought, oh, okay, this isn't going to be that bad. I was on over 22 meds a day, and high blood pressure. I was on 3 high blood pressure meds. My asthma's bad. My kidneys are bad. On and on. And I have a heart block. And so watching him, I was like, oh, okay. And they always talk about that, that bariatric surgery has a greater success if both partners are willing to do it. So I was like, okay, not a problem. I'll do it. Watching him, I was like, I'll experience a couple things, but not a problem. Ha! My recovery has been way different than his. I have fibro, and I also, as I said, have asthma. Well, when I had my surgery, those things seemed to be kicked into overdrive. So a lot of my problems have been, with bad asthma, with bad fibro. I'm getting a lot of bad headaches. And those are things that we weren't expecting at all. as well. The common misconception is that people who are overweight are addicted to food, and that was not the case with me. I was an anorexic when I was a young adult and teenager, and so as you grow and get older and get out of being an anorexic, some people experience where they don't recognize hunger pains. And so I would only eat when food was put in front of me because I never was hungry. You know, maybe after maybe after 3 or 4 days, I might get hungry, but I was never hungry. I didn't recognize those hunger pains. And so for me, part of it, in order for me to lose weight, because I had gained weight because I was eating different times. I would just eat whenever food was put in front of me. And then I was eating, late at night or whatever. But my thing was also very sugary drinks. I love the specialty coffees. I love, pop, wine coolers, anything that, really had sugar. That was my cup of tea. I mean, donuts, things like that. It was things that weren't good for me is why I gained the weight, along with my medical issues because I have a thyroid that doesn't work and things like that. So, there is that stigma, and it's a bad stigma because it's not always true. Not everybody that is overweight is addicted to food. So, with those things, that's the difference between my husband's surgery and my surgery, his recovery and my recovery. My recovery is going to be a whole lot different than his recovery has been. And I just assumed it was going to be the same, but nope, guess not. But anyway, more later. Until next time, bye.